What is going on, everybody? This is episode 398 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett. I'm here with my co-host. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Hello, crisis actors. It's Mary. Brett already seems exasperated with me for some reason. I don't know what I did wrong. What can I do to make it up to you?
We're good. We're good today.
All right. Okay, so we've got a guest in the studio today. Hello, Phil.
Hello, everybody. I am Phil Labonte, lead singer of All That Remains, anti-communist, and counter-revolutionary.
How you doing, buddy?
Doing well. How are you?
Feeling good to be back?
It's very good to be back. I'm happy to be back. I think I should be back more.
Yes, I agree with that wholeheartedly. Guys, we got a bunch of stuff to talk about today, ladies and gentlemen. Miranda has decided to sing an non-apology about her creepy grooming allegations in which she sent underwear to a child. But that's okay.
About the top 10 YouTubers who have been accused of grooming children.
Oh, crap. That's good. We could do that next.
You actually could probably make like a top 10 list or maybe top 100 list of those.
Actually, what they also don't realize is that it sounds easy, but it takes time. You have to curate lists like that and do a lot of research.
I'm imagining like the March Madness of like creepy predators from YouTube. And
we'll put a standings list behind us.
Number one.
Hey,
Sam Pepper. Remember that guy?
This matters too, because did you see recently that you are now allowed to gamble on the Special Olympics?
I think I heard about that.
Yes, you can now place wagers on the Special Olympics when they're going on. I think I might do it this year.
They do drug testing for the Special Olympics too, right?
I have no idea. I just know that they were talking. I saw a couple of streams talking about
that. Just opens a whole other can of worms.
I saw people talking about the ethical nature of gambling on the Special Olympics, and I say go ahead.
Look, there's nothing that's more unethical about gambling on Special Olympics versus gambling.
Is there something unethical about the Special Olympics existing in the first place?
Right now, the fact that I'm laughing about it, that's making it unethical. Yeah. That's making the whole thing a problem.
It's a fair question.
So we're going to talk about Miranda Sings. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Margot Robbie, who says that she only agreed to do the Barbie movie if they made the Barbie dolls diverse. It's like they want this movie to fail. After all this fantastic marketing, these articles are being written by people that just don't seem to want Barbie to do very well, because if they did, they wouldn't be releasing articles like this, knowing that the public hates woke backlash bullshit. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Madonna, who was just rushed to the ICU the other day. She had to be intubated, and there is speculation that it may be correlating to her plastic surgeries, to her many plastic surgeries. So we're going to get into that a little bit. We're also going to talk about Roseanne Barr, who's being canceled again by the media for clear and present sarcasm. It's like clear and present danger, but
just
sarcasm.
For comedy. It's like, oh, you made a joke, go to jail.
Yep. So we're gonna talk about all that. We got a bunch of stuff. So if you guys are ready, we will get right into it. Mary, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Phil, are you ready?
Let's go!
Let's go. Yes. All right. First things first. If you were wondering who the newest members of the Academy are for the Oscars, well,
I'm dying to know.
Your answers are apparently Taylor Swift and The Weeknd.
I'm sorry. I understand The Weeknd if he's been in a show at this point, but Taylor Swift has never.
She's been in more than him. She's been in movies. She's been in television shows. Yeah.
What?
She was
playing
in,
whom?
She was in Cats. She was in Babylon or Amsterdam.
I blocked that out of my memory.
She was in Amsterdam. She played a hooker who died in a hotel in an episode of CSI in
Why did I forget her Amsterdam cameo?
Yeah, she was in Amsterdam. So,
okay, I just think it's like really corny when people ham up she's a director now. She's an auteur. When she just gave notes on a music video.
Yeah. A music video that
like
for
a
all
short
intents
film
and
about her
purposes
relationship with John Mayer.
Looked like
and then was like, guys, don't bully John Mayer, but he's also a monster.
So is he a monster or isn't he a monster? I have no idea.
I mean,
he's talented. I know that.
He might be toxic, but so is she.
I mean,
do you know John? You know John Mayer?
No, I
don't.
Met
him? Male feminist, maybe.
Yeah, that's never a good thing.
He is not he's slayed everything.
Yeah, so male misogynist.
Yeah, maybe.
Awesome. Crypto misogynist.
Slayed in like a slay queen type of way, or
no, slayed as in had sex
taken
with.
to bed with kind of way. Yes. And also The Weeknd, and I guess The Weeknd because he was in.
I hate looking at him. I'm sorry, I do.
You don't like the way he looks?
The Weeknd, right?
I don't like the way he sounds. I don't like that he essentially tries to be a Michael Jackson skinwalker.
What makes somebody? Have you ever seen that video?
No, I mean with his music.
Yeah.
He's just like, you're not Michael Jackson, bro.
Yeah.
He just sounds like a cheapened version of Michael Jackson.
I don't think that's true. I think he sounds more R&B than Michael. Like he sounds more modern day R&B than Michael Jackson did. I just thought Michael Jackson sounded more pop to me.
His vocal technique, it just sounds like he's copying him.
How would you? What would you say? How would you classify Michael Jackson's music?
Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson is timeless. Like he's. I mean, there's a lot of things that you can say about his personal life and stuff, but like when it comes to his actual professional ability, like as a songwriter and as a performer and as a singer,
so few people have that like universal appeal that he had.
Yeah, he was amazing.
Now
I was
watching, that's impossible now.
I was watching a video just the other day where they were talking about how they said they think Taylor Swift is surpassing Michael Jackson in fame. I think that's
possible?
That's maybe a fair comparison, but I don't know. Like she's
in the age of like oversaturation and social media and like anyone can be a star now. I don't think it's even possible
to be bigger than like Michael Jackson was.
The way that the industry is structured, it's not possible to reach that level of fame again.
I don't know. She's getting there.
If there is anyone that is currently as well known and as big of an act as Michael Jackson, it's Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
If
there was a video of some rapper, I forget who it was. It might have been like, I don't know, Lil Uzi Vert or someone that went to like Beijing or Tokyo or something, was walking around the street and was like shocked that no one knows who he is or was asking for pictures or anything. Like in the grand scheme of things, most of these people have like an astroturfed fan base, but like globally they're not relevant.
I think Taylor Swift is the opposite of astroturfed. I think she would get recognized.
She would get recognized in
everywhere.
those places, but like a random
Lil Uzi Vert, maybe not. Random Lil.
Someone like Taylor Swift going to China, though, that would be that would be something the government would be involved in.
Yeah,
without question.
Does she tour there?
I don't know, but I imagine if she did, I mean.
She plays that South Park song "Banned in China" while in China. That'd be great. So they're going to be part of the Academy, I guess, as if these things matter. The actors are going to be going on strike on Sunday, or I'm sorry, on
I thought it was
Friday.
tomorrow.
Friday, yeah, sorry, not Sunday, Friday. So I'm kind of like, how do you feel about this? Because this is one of those things where it's my job technically to care. But it's kind of funny because I'm just like, good, go on strike. I don't care.
Yeah,
I don't care. Like they've got enough content to be getting on with for quite a while. Don't give these actors, these whiny actors, anything they want.
Or the whiny writers.
Don't give the whiny writers anything they want. Pluck them on the nose and tell them to kick rocks.
All of them are overpaid.
Yeah.
I don't consume anything anymore out of like major studios. Like the last thing that I really cared about was like Avengers Endgame.
Yep. That was like 2019.
Yeah, that was, a few years ago. I haven't watched any of the like Disney Plus or Netflix or anything. I don't watch those shows at all, and I don't care at all that they're going on strike. In my opinion, I'm not a big episode TV guy, but like if you've got the lowest viewership of that kind of episodic TV in history now, what are you going on strike about?
It's just a constant pipeline of shitty shows that no one is going to remember in the future.
Why are you striking? Because obviously you're not retaining the audience.
If they had this argument 7 years ago, I could understand.
I think both the writers and the actors should be paid according to how much money that the show makes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they don't, none of them are going to take that option, right? There was an article that I had brought up today that we ended up not choosing to cover, where the guy who created Squid Games is upset that basically Netflix made like $950 million and he doesn't get residuals and he doesn't get any type of back end profits from it because look, they incurred all the risk. They made the show, they spent the money to advertise it. And for every Squid Games or Dahmer series you have 375,000 shows that nobody gives a crap about, right? So they incur the risk. It's not a thing about wanting to bootlick for companies, because certainly I don't give a crap if Netflix fails, but a little bit of reality to how the world works would do losers like that just a little bit of good to understand that, like, because then there's always going to be the people online who are going to be like, yeah, screw these corporations making all this money. I'm like, yeah, but they're making the money but barely breaking even because all the other shows are failing. Like there's a lot less sentiment. Thank you for that.
That's a lot.
There's a lot less positive sentiment for these things when half the shows are failing. Like I said, if they had the writers in the actors strike in like 2013, like we're talking Game of Thrones is big, we're just on the outset of Breaking Bad, like there's an argument to be made that we hit a golden age of TV. Like Homeland is on the air. Like there was a golden age of television where I think there would have been a lot more positive sentiment. But in general, nobody wants to hear from whiny, overpaid actors about how they're not being paid enough. Now, is it true that they're not getting their quote unquote fair share? That's your own problem. Negotiate better contracts. Bet on yourself.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Like, it would be interesting to see what's going to happen with these things, because I do think a strike will end up happening. I don't know if the writer's strike had resolved before the acting strike was coming. I feel like it might have been more likely resolved by the end of it, but I feel like now they'll both strike together. So we'll have to see. We'll pay attention to this tomorrow. We should know by the midway point of the show tomorrow whether that happens. I'm guessing by end of business on a Friday, you would know whether on a last vote whether it's been counted or not. So we'll have to see. Mary, tell us about Fall Out Boy.
Yes, they have put out a cover of Billy Joel's We Didn't Start the Fire with updated lyrics for everything that's happened in between 1989 and present day, but in no particular chronological order. And they're getting criticized for some tasteless lyrics, like Shinzo Abe blown away and rhyming George Floyd with Metroid. Also, here's part of the lyrics. Trump gets impeached twice. Polar bears got no ice. Firefest, Black Parade, Michael Phelps, Y2K, Boris Johnson, Brexit, Kanye West and Taylor Swift, Stranger Things, Tiger King. It's just
It actually makes
so
all
cringy.
the things that make our culture relevant even more unpalatable.
They also mentioned Meghan Markle in the song. Why? I couldn't tell you.
Well, you know.
But I'm sure she's riding off the high of that attention.
Did Kate Middleton get mentioned? That's the real question.
She didn't.
That's a problem.
Yeah. Yep. She got mentioned right before George Floyd. Is there a connection there?
I don't know. That's a very good question.
I haven't read the lyrics for this, but I feel like the original had more gravity behind the topics that they covered. Whereas, I mean, look,
this is just mentioning like Woodstock '99 and
like
Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man.
Firefest
and
Firefest.
It's coming back. They're doing Firefest 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Cool.
The guy's out of jail.
But is it worth mentioning in the song?
You know what it is also? It's like back then you weren't constantly being shown curated news all day, every day. So now it's like, I already remember these things. I'm reminded of the news constantly. Hearing it all added together back in the day would have had more weight to it. Because like, oh, I forgot that happened. Now you're not allowed to forget that anything happened because you're constantly bombarded by news all the time.
It's just like I'm picturing them for like 45 minutes in the studio trying to figure out what to rhyme George Floyd with and being like, Metroid, like,
Susan Boyd,
perfect.
That's part of why I'm kind of like, I feel like the other.
My phone is an Android. I don't know. Like,
so unserious.
It's very unserious.
We live.
Not a huge fan of the song in its original version either, but
that was a great song.
So Fall Out Boy. I was completely fine with that first album post hiatus. Then we lost their. Was it right after their performance that
was that American Beauty, American Psycho? Or
no,
what?
it was. That wasn't the name of it. I don't think. But like it was the Victoria's Secret fashion show that they did. Was that the last one that they ever did, or was there a couple more after that?
Wait, what?
They did the Victoria's Secret fashion show. They were the musical act on the Victoria's Secret fashion shows. I was like, you've officially sold out to the highest level. I love it. Like, it's like, well, like, I don't care.
They were corporate pop punk in their own heyday anyway.
But it's just funny because I don't think of corporate pop punk when I think of the Victoria's Secret fashion show. I think of Rihanna and I think of pop rap. And stuff
Ariana
like that.
Grande.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, do I really trust Patrick Stump with the models? I don't know. I don't know. So we'll see. It's okay. Also, I want to give everybody. Oh no, tell us about Will Smith, because this was interesting given the climate change. The climate change, the change in the climate that we're living in.
Our social climate.
Yeah, social climate.
The executive producer for Fresh Prince of Bel-Air has recently done an interview where he said Will Smith was extremely against giving RuPaul a cameo in the sitcom. He said, I remember him saying that it would be a really bad idea. And I said, no, listen, hear my story. And despite his appeals, Will Smith refused and kept repeating that it was a bad idea, so he ultimately backed down. And he says that it's because Will Smith was worried about protecting his reputation. The reason he would say no is because of his image, period, the end, he said.
Well, we all know that Hollywood loves to ritualistically humiliate people.
Well, today, Will
or,
Smith would have been all for the cameo.
It was this or they'd put him in a dress, which is what they always do in Hollywood.
There's a lot of dresses in Hollywood.
They loved it. They loved it. They did it to Terry Crews just recently. So,
oh, really?
Yeah, like last year or something like that. So, you know, it's weird how much the world has changed in just 20 years. Given
Will Smith's
it wasn't
not
that long
cool
ago.
Anymore,
he's definitely not cool anymore. So. Yeah. Oh, also, guys, I want to give an update on the hottest story in pop culture right now. That's the Vanna White pay dispute. Give the woman her raise, I say.
Yeah.
If Pat Sajak is making $15 million a year, I demand you give Vanna White $7.5 million a year.
Close the wage gap.
Close the rich person wage gap. And you know these people, somebody pointed out in the chat yesterday, you know that these people have tons of other back-end deals. They got brand deals with other companies. Like, I don't know, but I'm sure she has her own type of, like, Jamie Lee Curtis, what's the Activia? She's probably got her own. She's probably got her own Activia. But you know what I'm saying, right? Give the lady a raise. No raises in like 40 or like 18 years.
Well, I mean, look,
she needs to advocate.
She is iconic.
Yep.
So I think that there's an argument to be made that as what is really an icon for that brand, she should be paid well for that. I don't know if it's worth $7.5 million a year. Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
She's making $3 million a year now.
We've got one from Derp Devil. He said, rhyming isn't all that hard. George Floyd, urban hemorrhoid. BLM leaves cities destroyed. Public annoyed. Sigmund Freud. Christopher Lloyd. I mean, just think for a minute and the rhymes flood your noodle.
There's also a website called Rhyme Zone that I use extensively when we're trying to write lyrics. So.
Yeah, I don't know if I would have chosen Metroid for that.
Somebody else pointed out, Heather Hunter, who was just a guest here on Friday, says, let her host the show. I'm like, hey, hold up. There's no proof that she could do turning the letters isn't the same thing as running the show.
She's gonna be pissed if Ryan Seacrest still gets
he's
5 times her pay.
Yeah. Ryan Seacrest is going to be the guy doing it.
He's replacing Pat Sajak now.
Good for him.
Oh, also Pat Sajak, he's out partying right now. He's listening to Air Supply in Hawaii. It's so great. It's just as boomer of a retirement as possible.
Listening to Air Supply in Hawaii sounds absolutely amazing.
Why do boomers love Hawaii so much?
Have you ever been to Hawaii?
I haven't.
It's awesome.
I don't think I would go.
I don't understand why.
I'm too afraid of all of the giant spiders and.
There are very few giants. There's
insects.
not a lot of animals that are predators on Hawaii.
I just think maybe Hawaii's not so bad, sure, but why are boomers so obsessed with going to Hawaii?
It's literally one of the most remote places on Earth. It's absolutely beautiful.
Maybe I'm just calling you a boomer now.
I mean, you can call me whatever you want. It's not going to change what Hawaii's like.
I mean, it's fine, but I just don't understand the.
I've never been, but it's fine.
Fixation.
It's awesome.
It's just like something that boomers dream about after retirement, and I don't think that Gen Z, when they're reaching retirement age, is going to be like Hawaii, dude. I think it seems like a very boomer mindset.
Gen Z's hoping
coming from the generation when Hawaii was a new
never retire.
Yeah, they want to be plugged into the goddamn Matrix.
American Dream in the late 50s and early 60s.
Gank wife is taking all his money.
But yeah, it is the most beautiful place in the world. It is incredible. It's hard to articulate how really, really amazing it is out there. So.
They're saying stream is freezing. We're going to keep going, guys. It's saying that I'm good on this side, but it's not saying it's unfroze, so we're just going to keep going with it. So I've got connection here. We'll go with it. But yeah, Kevin Costner's wife's like, fine, I'll move out under some conditions, even though there was already conditions lined up in their divorce proceedings. Not cool. All right. Tom Cruise is single-handedly working to save the Hollywood industry. He's encouraging people to go see Barbie and Oppenheimer back-to-back to support the theaters.
So now that he's told you to do the double feature,
of course, now
you're
I'm going to
do it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I mean, even if I have to leave Barbie a little bit early, I'm going to see them both the same day. And I'm going to, the funny thing is, it's going to color my opinion of both movies as negative because I'm going to be in the theater for so long. I'm going to be like, I'm sick of this shit. I blow it up already. Will you get it over with? Detonate the nuke. I got sleep to get at home. I'm tired.
I feel like you should go see Oppenheimer first.
It's unfortunately it didn't work out that way.
I made a mistake with getting the tickets and unfortunately got them for the same day. So
Mary's going to just see Barbie, and I am going to then leave Barbie after like an hour.
I don't know how long you're gonna get to see Barbie before you.
It's gonna be a rough one.
But
it's gonna be a rough one. But it's gonna.
You care less about seeing Barbie, though, right?
I don't have strong opinions. I care more about seeing Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
that's what I care about.
Well, that's what Tom Cruise really wants.
Yes.
He's like, yeah, go see Barbie and Oppenheimer, but don't you dare choose those over Mission Impossible: Dead
I mean,
Reckoning.
even though it's Tom Cruise and he's biased, I feel like that's probably that's good advice.
He's also mad at he was mad at Oppenheimer because it's taking a bunch of his IMAX screens away from Mission Impossible. So he's upset that he's going to lose out on the money that comes from people seeing in IMAX.
Nerds.
I know, right? Total nerds. All right. What is this video you sent me, Mary?
Oh, this isn't a cringe of the day or a cute of the day. I just think this needs to be made into a movie.
Okay. We're still getting stream issues here on my end, so I'm hoping that we're not
Are we good,
F's in
guys?
the chat out. But here we go.
$100,000 for the return of my hard drive. I was robbed by a Chilean jewelry heist gang run by a dude named Brian Herrera Maldonado, according to the police. The hard drive that you guys took looks exactly like this. If you guys return this to me, I will give you $100,000. And I will throw in another $100,000 if you let me fight any one of the 4 pussies that was in my home. Pick whichever one you want. You can have an attorney draft any kind of letter that you please, which I will sign, and it will have a legally binding commitment that I will not press charges. As you know from looking at the hard drive, it's just 5 years of photos of me with my children. They're from 2008 to 2012. You probably thought it had banking info, or you thought it was a crypto wallet.
Oh, it's like crypto wallet makes sense. I'm like, who keeps their banking info in an external hard drive? Is that a
When
thing?
you looked at it, you realize it's just a dad and his kids. Hopefully,
Crypto wallet, I
for
can
your
understand.
sake, you didn't throw it away, because if you did, that would suck for you. I know that you are all pathetic cowards.
What?
All four of them. Dan,
What
when I stepped
chicken?
in.
What am I watching?
And I know it must suck knowing that you are incapable of actually earning a living, and it must feel horrible that you know you aren't real men.
He read them
I'm
to
giving
Phil.
you a chance to get $200,000 in cash. You are pathetic punks. Come and prove me wrong and get paid. You know who I am from the hard drive. I'm in SoCal. It won't be hard to figure out which little cell of your losers has this EXP. Have one of your loser friends drop off a letter with next steps in my backyard. You seem to know it well, as the police tell me you case these homes for days. Get to it, and let's do this.
He's let's go. There's no T in let's go.
He has an incredible gravitas.
It's actually kind of impressive to wear a suit like that with like a polo underneath rather than a regular suit jacket. You know what I mean? Rather than just like a button up.
Daring.
Very daring. Very daring.
Have this guy fight Musk.
I feel like they're just gonna stab him or shoot him.
Oh. I don't know. He seems pretty confident.
Salty
Confident in himself. That'll change when he's got
That's
bullets
why
in him.
he's challenging them to a hand-to-hand combat. That would make it fair.
Who is this guy?
They're criminals.
Who's this guy?
He's literally, I have no idea.
Okay, like my Salty Cracker responded and said, "This made my computer pregnant."
Give this man his photo album back.
Yeah, just give this guy his pictures back. You know what he should have done? He should have been uploading it to PhotoBucket if PhotoBucket was still a thing.
Yeah.
All right.
He's a boomer, so.
Yep. I want to give an update on ISOM number 2. They had a bunch of stuff come out, but cover B has passed 10,000 sales. It is now at $1,625,201. That is crazy. That is crazy, and it's very good to see. All right. Cute or cringe?
Let's do cute first.
Okay. Cute of the day first. First, let's look here. This is from Emily Lita. She says at popculture_show, #PCC Pets. This is Rocket. He is the craziest dog that ever lived, and that is his chickadee. That is a very cute dog. It's a very cute looking dog. I like the...
Speaking of cute of the day, Mr. Bocus.
Yeah.
Cat of Cast Castle is not doing so hot right now. It's looking like it's nearing the end for him.
That's just sad of the day.
Yeah.
Really.
Prayers for Bocus. I'm sure Brett is going to be posting a bunch of cute Bocus pictures.
My phone is essentially 90% pictures of Bocus. So
Bocus is his co-pilot.
I do have this one right here that I posted because I reposted Tim's. Got very lucky with that photo. Somebody was behind me motioning, and Bocus looked up at just that moment and caught that great photo of him. Love that picture. But we do have one more from Halls and the Kid on Twitter. Aww. Here's some cute of the day material for you at #PCC Pets.
Thank you, Jessica.
This is Snowball.
So cute.
That's an amazing photo right there.
I love that little like jolly smile.
Yeah.
I think this is like a Persian, right?
Jessica, let us know.
Cute.
That is my favorite though. That is
Himalayan.
That is an amazing photo right there. Very cute. All right, cringe of the day. Let's first look at, I saw this yesterday. This could be called Cope of the Day if we had something called Cope of the Day. Here it is.
If this isn't proof that it's totally okay not to be married by 30, to live life on a completely different timeline. I'm 37 and I still don't know what I'm doing in my life, but it's a Friday and life can totally be awesome. And I'm just like hanging out at the pyramids, all dressed up. Just living life, guys. If this isn't
just living life alone.
It's less of a cope if you just do it without making the post about it, right?
Right.
If that's the thing, it feels like you're trying to convince yourself that maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong.
It's an overcompensation.
It felt that way to me, but I try to, it's like nobody would say that this is a cope if you went and did it by yourself, but making the point of posting about it feels like you're trying to convince your own self that it's all right. I could be wrong though.
You also don't need to go out of your way to mention that you're not married or you don't have kids, right? You can just say like, look at this fun thing I'm doing.
I do like the mini Diet Pepsi can though.
Yeah.
Like that's like, why are Americans fat? Because our cans are bigger than that, and everywhere else has regular. Like you ever like
it's Diet Pepsi though.
When I was
like Trump said, I've never seen a skinny person drinking Diet Coke, and he himself is a Diet Coke enjoyer.
Yes.
So.
Well, is he? Yeah, but like also, I remember like when I was in Spain, like they only had the small monsters. They didn't have bigger monsters. This is a while ago though, I guess. But like they didn't have like the 16 or the 20-ounce cans or whatever. They just had like the 8-ounce cans back then. So maybe that's why we're not
Today
why we're bigger.
I tweeted the esoteric right-wing bro scientists don't want you to know that I gained weight in Europe. And then everyone in the comments was like, this is impossible. Because, like, you know, all of those posts that are like, I ate whatever I wanted on vacation in Italy and I lost 10 pounds.
Because all the food is healthier than America.
And we eat poison in America, which is why I'm fat and it's not my fault.
That's one of my favorite things that I've got. Like, I didn't get into an argument with somebody about it, but a friend of mine did because he posted the thing. It's like, whether you like it or not, you know, your work is your responsibility. All these things are your responsibility. And one of them is like, your health is your responsibility. Your eating habits are your responsibility. And someone's like,
oh my goodness,
they're poisoning you. And there's these like, he's saying, I'm not saying they're not poisoning you with their crappy food. I'm saying it's still your job to deal with it.
On IRL, I said that one time and got huge backlash. I was like, okay, but it's not that hard to not be fat. Like, I know that our food quality is lower than the rest of the world, but
it's harder to not get fat than it is to get not fat.
Sure, yeah, totally. But like, just, you know, moderation, guys.
A little bit of moderation helps.
Go to the gym.
I could
do what you need to do.
I could
go to
absolutely
the gym.
Just don't blame Big Pharma and big agriculture for all of your problems.
Like, I could definitely do with losing some weight, but it's not anybody else's responsibility but mine to do that. And that's from somebody who gets a lot of a good amount of exercise all the time. Like last night, I posted a video because I tried to go out and skate after I was here till about 8 p.m. and then like you don't have a lot of daylight left at that point when you go out, right? So I had to go out, try to go and get this trick done. And it's just one of those things where it's like the end of the day, you're tired and you don't have an adequate amount of time to warm up, meaning like there's no like lead in time to like, so my legs are just like dead. Because I've been working all day and you're just whatever, right? And I was like, this is the first time in a very long time I actually felt my age. Like I don't like most like if I go and skate on a Saturday, I can skate 8 to 10 hours and I feel fine. Like doesn't bother me. But trying to do it in a rush is like without the prep time, that's when I actually feel my age. But that's still my responsibility. If I was to have fallen and gotten hurt that time, I would be like, it's God's fault that I'm old now. It's the government's fault for not making this or that. Like, you know what I mean? Like everything's your responsibility. Take responsibility for your own actions. And don't make videos coping about being alone at the pyramids. It's just, like, you know.
Also, don't get hate crimed over there. You know, I wouldn't personally travel to Egypt alone.
Do you remember that when that article was written, it says like Saudi Arabia is the new hotspot for women to travel alone. It says, who wrote this? The president of human trafficking? Like,
I feel like Saudi Arabia is like, I feel like that's a pretty safe place to go when it comes to like those types of crimes. I feel like Eastern Europe is way more dangerous. Like I'd rather go to Saudi Arabia. If I were a young lady, I would rather go to like Saudi Arabia than to like Moldova.
It might have been Iran or something.
Right?
It might have been like Iran or
Yeah.
something.
You're gonna get like abducted and put in a cam girl ring.
Suddenly you're in a Taken film with Liam Neeson.
Yeah, and then suddenly Andrew Tate won't let you leave his compound.
I hate it when that happens.
You end up doing a Vice interview and everyone says you're lying about it.
You know.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, Andrew Tate is so controversial. Like he splits every chat by 50%.
I didn't mean to bring up Tate. That's why I said Moldova.
All right,
I went there.
I've got one more cringe of the day for you, ladies and gentlemen. Buzz Lightyear is apparently an ally and a queen.
He's an ally.
He's an ally and a queen.
He was born this way.
Mm-hmm. I'm not playing the music because it's "Born This Way" by Lady Gaga. So that's very cringy, unbelievably cringy.
For those listening, it's just Buzz Lightyear basically voguing with a rainbow fan.
Yep.
Fanning himself.
All right, the chat. Before we get started, guys, would you hit the like button on this video? Would you subscribe to this channel if you have not done that already? Thank you very much. If you have a super chat, $20 and over, we will interrupt the discussion. We will read that super chat right then and there, and then we will do our very best to get right back on topic. Mary, tell us about Miranda Sings.
Yeah, so we already covered this a while ago. This has been going on for the past month. Miranda Sings, she's one of the OG YouTubers from like the late 2000s, early 2010s era.
Oh, by the way, somebody said Bud Lightyear.
Bud Lightyear.
That's pretty good.
He walked right into that one.
It's pretty good.
Anyway, she is one of those OG YouTubers that kind of garnered an audience of mostly children because her content was just like mindless, playing a character. And she, for the past month, has been getting exposed for some pretty inappropriate behavior with her fans.
You should give people a backstory about what that is.
So mainly by one of the fans who was in a group chat called Weenies, which was mostly kids aged 13 to 17. And he's posted some screenshots and made some videos basically showing that Miranda, or Colleen Ballinger, her real name, has in the past asked for pictures of her fans' ass, who's like 13 years old, asked them about their virginities in this group chat, asked them favorite position.
Please stop asking the kids sexual questions.
Also,
is it that hard?
She's overshared a lot about her personal life, her dramas with other YouTubers who are adults, by the way. Posted things about her marriage and her sex life from her previous marriage. And also there are some incidents from her live shows where she's behaved inappropriately with kids that attend who are brought there by their parents.
Derp Devil says 13 to 17 is a young adult, not a kid. Adolescence is a thing. You're still a kid at 13 if she's in her 30s.
Yeah, she literally asked a like 13-year-old
Mm.
kid for ass pics. I don't think that that's defensible, personally. She also sent this said 13-year-old a set of lingerie in the mail. And when his parents found out about it, they obviously didn't approve. And in 2020, he made a video revealing some of this information, but not all of it, because he still was a fan of hers and wanted to protect her reputation. And everyone at the time went against him and supported her when she made an empty non-apology video being like, I don't know, I had good intentions, sorry. And then recently he has come out again and exposed all the stuff that he was keeping to himself in the past. And it includes some pretty disturbing information. We showed on the show where we originally covered this, at one of her live shows, she does this skit where she asks a child to put their hand down her pants to grab a snack.
Couldn't she just do this stuff with adults? Like, literally.
Well, no, because adults don't like her content because her content's stupid.
Just if you want to be a weirdo with other consenting adults. Leave the kids alone.
There was another situation where she basically spread a teenager's legs, like spread eagle on stage as a skit. I don't know what the punchline of that is supposed to be.
But she has responded to all of this now after the backlash.
It's been about a month of her being totally silent on social media while still on her tour of live shows, still interacting with kids this entire time. And it is a very bizarre ukulele non-apology diss track of sorts. If you're confused, so am I. I guess we should show a couple of clips from the video to give you an idea.
All right, here we go. I'll just play this one starting from 13 seconds.
You guys having fun? All aboard the toxic gossip train.
Oh my God.
Chugging down the tracks of misinformation, the toxic gossip train. You got a one-way ticket to manipulation station. Toxic gossip train. Tie me to the tracks and harass me for my past. Cause rumors look like facts. If you don't mind the gaps, I won't survive in the crash. But hey, at least you're having fun.
So this was obviously not well received. All of the comments are tearing her apart. And if you're a woman getting criticized in the Daily Beast, you know you fucked up.
Yeah.
One comment said, "This is so painfully millennial."
Sounds like she listened to a lot of Regina Spektor.
Another one said, "Was this song in her favorite chord A minor?" And another one said, "As a general statement, there is something profoundly dark about millennial women who still lean on the tiny ukulele girl aesthetic. Show me a tiny ukulele girl trying to look like she's still 21 and I'll show you horrors beyond comprehension." She obviously put some blurring filters over her face in the video as well to blur out those wrinkles, because this woman is approaching 40.
There's a $20
There's a $20 super chat from Grofty.
He said, $20 saying that the ukulele is there to get videos like this shut down. Creepy stuff. My virgin ears, stomach, don't upchuck. There was another clip I wanted to show from the video, just real quick.
From the same one or from?
Yeah, from Pop Vase. All right. Sorry about the language, by the way. It's not on screen.
Hey, it's been a while since you saw my face. I haven't been doing so great, so I took a little break. So a lot of people are saying some things about me that aren't quite true. Doesn't matter if it's true, though. Just as long as it's entertaining to you.
This overgrown theater kid is actually trying to play victim.
But the problem is it is true, and just saying that it's not isn't actually defense
so it's like,
of your actions.
It is true and it is entertaining, apparently.
You have allegations of grooming and exploiting kids in a sexual nature. I don't think that if these allegations were actually false, this would be your move. I think that you should actually try to clear your name.
Derp Devil just
Derp Devil has a $20 super chat.
He said, "You're not a kid one day at 17 and magically an adult at 18. You're in a constant state of becoming more of an adult. You can be trusted with the lives of other people at 16 when driving. This isn't saying do sex stuff with minors."
We're not talking about a 16-year-old. We're talking about a 13-year-old.
The fan in question, Adam McIntyre, he is 20 today, but he was a fan of Miranda Sings since he was like 10 or 11 years old.
And it does kind of fall into the realm of like, look, there's nothing a Western woman hates more than being held responsible for her own actions.
Yeah.
And in this
I think
case,
that's like
I
a
do
reason why
think-
she's gotten away with it for so long.
I think that there is a little bit of a disconnect here for a lot of them because I feel like if we were to take her at her word and say she's not a creep, which obviously I don't agree with, I think she is. If this was a dude, he would inherently know that doing this stuff is wrong, right? If he wasn't a bad person and he had the idea to do something like this, he'd be like, I would never be able to get away with it. One, because it's wrong. Two, because everyone knows that a dude put in that position would be held accountable for his actions. And for a woman, she just assumes that she's not going to be held responsible for her choices.
And I hate the refrain of like, oh, I had good intentions and I feel really bad that my intentions got misinterpreted. Like, it's like the sorry if you felt hurt.
How you
sorry
underwear?
that you felt that way.
How does mailing somebody underwear get misinterpreted?
Mailing a 13-year-old your lingerie, I'm sorry, there is no context, no intention that makes that look acceptable
There
to do.
is no context in which that is
Also,
acceptable.
like, people were like actually making the argument, like, well, they weren't used. That's not a defense, you psychopath.
The underwear wasn't used. Therefore, it's not child abuse.
Yeah, it's not good, man.
Oh, God.
And now even her ex-husband has come out to talk about this. He said, anyone feeling hurt and gaslit right now, my message to you is this. Your experiences were real. The proof is there. Your trauma should be taken seriously. Your anger is justified and you deserve better. Sending you love. Another tweet said, this behavior was my reality anytime I spoke up and disagreed with her actions and rhetoric during 2009 to 2016. I was gaslit too. I was made to feel like I was always the problem. Any pain I felt was an inconvenience and I was belittled. Every ounce of what you're feeling, I understand. So it seems like behind closed doors, she is not so different of a person to what she is in her public persona. But what I hate the most about this is cloaking yourself in like this harmless image. She's looking at the camera with these doe eyes, and she's literally a grown-ass woman and a mother approaching age 40, pretending like she was the victim in all of this. She's claiming that this was a character assassination and people aren't looking into the facts and these are all just rumors. But if these were just unfounded rumors that had no proof, no facts to back them up, why wouldn't you come out with the receipts that you have to clear your name? It's a serious allegation and you're not taking it seriously. You just posted a song about it. This went on for 10 minutes, by the way. And the fact that this woman wrote the song, rehearsed it over and over again. This is completely unedited. And no one told her, like no one in her circle or her team who advised her against making a video, by the way, said, yeah, maybe this would do more harm than good to your public image.
Does she have a teleprompter?
It's crazy to me. No, she genuinely thought that this was a good idea. You have to be so unhinged and detached from reality to think that this was a good idea. Even if just from a selfish perspective, right? Like, if she's just looking out for herself, this is still horrible for your PR. And also, I can't believe that parents are still taking their kids to see this woman's live shows. She's still on tour.
They don't know any of this stuff is going on.
Yeah, and her younger fans are going to defend her no matter what. But the ones who have grown up with her and are now adults and see that her behavior was inappropriate are finally speaking out about it and getting like validation that's like, hey, yeah, that was wrong when she was oversharing to you about like her sex life and her marriage and asking you questions that were sexual in nature.
The underwear should make it clear.
Like that alone.
That's the only thing you have to
like,
focus on. Only because it's provable and it's a fact. The rest of it, if it's hearsay, fine, it can be pushed back on.
She sent this kid, Adam McIntyre, screenshots from Trisha Paytas's OnlyFans, her nudes. So, she was sending someone's nudes to a kid to talk shit about her, I guess, colleague, really.
This is how...
That seems illegal to me.
This is how the work... Yeah, oddly enough...
Is that not illegal?
She would get in trouble for sharing copyrighted material, not for the actual crime of sending it
porn to a child.
But like, this is how people who are actual criminals will end up slipping through the cracks with these systems, right? Because... Oh, there's a $20 one right there.
This is from Call Me Snow Possum. Let me simp for a sec. I've lost 100 pounds listening to All That Remains. Mary and Seamus got me back to my faith. Brett has shown me that I can get over my addiction and do something successful, minus the 4 months in jail.
That's awesome.
Awesome, man. That's really awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah, congrats.
Changing your life
sick.
is a very big thing, and it's not easy. So, congrats.
Cheers, man.
The internet and the accessibility that you have to celebrities is now how the worst of the worst will slip through the cracks and have access to the most vulnerable of people, right? Because there's no way to regulate this crap. The parents are going to give their kids the phone. The phone is not going to have any type of limits on it. And people under the guise, the men will be the ones who they look out for. They're going to look out for the creepy men, but the creepy women will slip right by and nobody will say anything.
We've got another one from Call Me Snow Possum. Tim Cascrew has helped change my life in a positive way. All I want to say is thank you.
Thank you very much,
man. That rules.
Thank you.
They're saying Brett had 4 months in jail. I did not have 4 months in jail. Somebody actually said that to me once in like a chat. Like, I don't know how that got happened. It's like I've never been arrested in my life, but it was just funny. I'm like, damn. I'm looking for my teardrop tattoo, and everything. Nah, nothing.
You gotta kill someone to get the teardrop tattoo.
Sadly, some people are actually falling for her victim act because they idol worship these influencers, but it's most deceptive that her criticisms of cancel culture are true if they were coming from somebody else.
That was innocent. If they were coming from somebody in which these claims were baseless, she would have every right to say these things. But I mean, that's what happens, right? Like the people who are being dishonest have no problems. Like, do you think that a dishonest person who does something wrong is going to have a problem doing more dishonest things to cover up doing something wrong?
This is like stolen valor from people who have been canceled for legitimately unfair reasons. But if you're behaving this way with kids, you deserve to get canceled.
Yes.
But
you deserve jail.
All of her complaints about cancel culture, they would make total sense coming from, like, I don't know, Roseanne Barr, but we'll get into that later.
Or a ton of other people, right?
Any context where you're not abusing children.
Yeah, she ends the video with a classically male feminist vibe. She said, "Sometimes people make mistakes simply because they made a mistake. And that mistake doesn't make them a terrible human. It just makes them a human. But what do I know? Fuck me, right?"
Sometimes it makes them a criminal.
Sending underwear in the mail to children makes you a bad person.
Yeah. Also, she's covered for her brother, Trent Ballinger, who is in his 30s and is provably a predator towards children as well.
Great.
This is a thread of things Trent Ballinger, a man in his 30s, sent to me when I was 13 and 14 years old. Here are some quotes. "Okay, just don't share our conversation with anyone. Anything we talk about stays between you and I. Thanks. I'm told not to talk to people under 18, cringe emoji. I do so just to spread positivity." And there are other comments he made saying, "You look like my ex-girlfriend in this photo." Things like that.
Like this is why focusing on the stuff getting sent in the mail is the easiest part, because it's the provable part that you can actually. The rest of it just becomes hearsay.
The whole thing,
and
is
you don't
just
know
bad.
what, and you can't prove whether, like, everyone will say, "Oh, they faked the screenshots." Like,
This guy, by the way, had access to her whole fan base who were trying to get to her through him. So he's only been empowered to get more access to children through his sister's success.
Yeah.
And obviously, screenshots can be doctored, but like she didn't even care to comment on that part of it.
We did play the video last time where she was on the live. She was on like an Instagram live and talking to this is not like theory. This is all stuff that we've been forced to look at to cover on here, and it's not good.
And it's like, for the stuff that is unfounded rumors, disprove that, but address the stuff that has actual video and text evidence.
Yep.
But she didn't do that because she knows she's in the wrong.
Yep. It's gross.
Yeah. Also, someone said this is the most unique apology video they've ever seen. If you think that, you haven't seen Sienna May, the TikToker, do her interpretive dance apology for her sexual assault allegations. The links
Who did
that
she
these people go
sexually
to.
assault?
It was just some other TikToker that like said she sexually harassed him. I don't know if it's true, but oh no, crisis party.
My fault.
Thank you guys.
It's party time.
I'm just saying, if the allegation is false, would you be doing an interpretive dance routine or a ukulele song to disprove them? You would probably take it a little more seriously than that.
No. A psychopath doesn't take it seriously. A psychopath doesn't care.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, pay attention to what your kids watch on YouTube because...
She actually makes a point in it. She goes, well, that's why my content isn't on YouTube Kids.
Right. She was saying it states on her website that Miranda Sings is a PG-13 character. Well, in that case, ban kids under 13 from going to your live shows.
Yep.
But that would cost you money, so you're not going to do that.
If you're sending people underwear, you are 18 plus. Sorry.
Yeah.
Like, you don't get to be 13 years old, like for an audience of 13-year-olds when you're doing stuff like that.
One
No.
other video that we showed as evidence of her creepy behavior was a video where she put a tampon in her mouth and started moving it around with her tongue and told other children in this weenies group chat to do the same and post the results. And then, more proof that this happened, they came to her meet and greets with tampons in their mouth for a photo op. There are countless examples of that. So, just thought I would mention that.
All right.
Yep.
Let's go to Super Chats now that we're all thoroughly disgusted, shall we?
Sketch Therapy said, Phil, watch Hollywood Was Always Red by Razor Fist.
Yeah, Hollywood Was Always Red.
That's a very good video, too.
I haven't seen it.
Just points out that Hollywood's always been full of communists.
Shane H. Wilder said, so Mary, would you say that The Weeknd is a Michael Jackson skin moonwalker? I'm sorry, that joke was horrible. I'll get my coat and see myself out.
But in
Thomas said, 2 weeks is based. Go Phil.
Cheers.
Let's do one more and then we'll move on.
Corey Anderson said, the weather is amazing and cane spiders aren't aggressive.
Hawaii.
I don't care if the spiders are aggressive or not. I'm just terrified of them. Also, they said Mary knows she would burn beet red if she went to Hawaii.
There you go.
That's true enough.
There you go.
I mean, it's so goddamn nice.
All right.
So nice.
Let's move on, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about Margot Robbie. Let's talk about Barbie. I want to talk about Margot Robbie. You know that me and her are birthday twins. Not the same year, but we were born on the same day.
Nice.
July 2nd. So she's got...
Go up to her and be like, girl, what's your sign?
Exactly.
And she'll tell you and you'll be like, oh, me too.
It's like there's a guy who goes like, I hit on all the astrology women by sending them messages at 11:11 and waiting for one of them to notice.
Oh, God.
So Margot Robbie says that she would. Well, it basically does. He's like he says it purposely at 11:11, and then eventually one of them will be like, "Oh my gosh, all your messages come through at 11:11. It must be something. It must be something, right? It must mean something."
It was something.
It was a plan,
Dummy.
So Margot Robbie says that she would have passed on the role of Barbie if it wasn't for the fact that Mattel introduced more diverse dolls. Representation matters, ladies.
I don't care, Margot. I don't care.
Stay hot, Margot.
But they've been doing this since the 80s.
Yep. So it says the white, able-bodied teenage fashion model Barbie was first released in 1959, and over the decades, the doll has been criticized for presenting negative gender stereotypes and unrealistic body proportions. That's also the other female cope that's higher than any other cope in history is the unrealistic expectations of your body, which is just like, don't be fat and be kind of in shape.
Well, I mean, so there is a little
Where
bit.
are her organs?
There is a little bit of truth to the the legs are so ridiculously long, and if it was like proportioned like to a human size, it would
Conan the Barbarian looks nothing like an actual
It's a
human.
I was
freaking
gonna
doll.
get there. Jeez.
Okay, go on.
Like, but the thing is, like, it's not just applied to women. It's like it goes to men. Dudes have got Conan or He-Man or whatever, and it's like, so the idea that it only applies to one sex or whatever, these things are idealized for a reason. They are supposed to be aspirational.
Yeah.
Margot Robbie said, if Mattel hadn't made that change to have a multiplicity of Barbies, I don't think I would have wanted to attempt to make a Barbie film. I don't think you should say this is the one version of what Barbie is, and that's what women should aspire to be and look like and act like. It's just ironic because Margot Robbie is
Literally
a living
She's like, oh my gosh, it's so hard being
embodiment of the ideal Barbie. And how dare Barbie be white and able-bodied?
Isn't it?
Like, and pretty. Why is it that they're revealing, just by like making the diversity push, that they're like, what about dolls that represent people with something wrong with them because they're lesser than?
Margot Robbie was just running defense. That's all she was doing. It was just like, I'm going to say this so I can get ahead of any criticism that people throw at me because I am the personification of Barbie.
She was insistent that the film would tackle aspects of the toy's history that have proven contentious.
What they mean by that is problematic, which by that they mean anything that weird liberal arts professors turned writers at crappy outlets for missing link media dissect as a problem, which is not a real problem that exists
It's really
in society.
problematic that Barbie had arched feet. They needed to give her flat feet.
God. And the thing is, like in 1959, Barbie was far more representative of the population than today.
Because we were thinner.
Well, the people were thinner. There was probably more white people back then there are now. There were way more Hispanic immigrants than there were in 1959. So I get that they're like, okay, maybe you should have more Barbies that represented larger, or Barbie's friends or whatever, because they're not all the same person. But whatever. It's like, that doesn't mean that Margot Robbie has to apologize for being a hot white chick.
In 1992, Mattel put out a talking doll that uttered phrases such as, I love shopping, will I ever have enough clothes, and math class is tough, prompting concerns about the example being set for young girls. Am I not supposed to say this? I feel represented by this doll. I love shopping, and math class is tough.
You're too short.
Like, if anybody looked at our falling education standards here in America, they would know that that's representative of just about everyone in this country.
I'm just saying, like, liking materialistic or superficial things or having superficial interests or wanting to look good doesn't negate having other value to your personhood. And a doll that utters those phrases doesn't undermine that.
Wouldn't today it just be like TikTok is fun?
Yeah.
And
be TikTok or Barbie.
TikTok is fun, and underwater basket class is so great.
No, it would be all about climate change and about George Floyd and about all of those type of
that stuff.
comments. That's the stuff that she would say.
Recounted a situation where the CEO of Mattel flew over to one of their sets in London because there was a scene he read on paper that seemed bad for the brand, and they had to perform it, do a table read for him to convince him that it didn't read the same way, but they didn't disclose which scene this was.
Which means it's got to be one of the ones with Will Ferrell, because Will Ferrell plays the Mattel CEO in the movie. I'm very annoyed between this and the stuff with the Netflix story. I hate the weird hypocritical neoliberal people who hate the rich guys until they become them. It's like the politicians who call for like living wages but then pay their canvassers $15 an hour.
It's exhausting,
right? Like, so who won't pay them the living wage that they talk about, and none of them understand how business works. And something in this case, like for Barbie, it's already a naturally diverse product now, so I don't know what the point of this article is other than to sabotage it and put out more bad press for it.
I really do think that she's just running defense. I mean, I don't know about the actual the article who actually published it, but at the same time, I really feel like she's saying this stuff to protect herself from criticism that is incredibly likely, to come her way if she doesn't make some kind of statement.
She's also, she's very media savvy. She seems to know when to shut up and when not to shut up. So catching her in something like this, which is a headline that's going to sound annoying to people, means that she was probably pushed into this question in some way, shape, or form. Well, she didn't volunteer this information.
It's strange that she would say that as if the diversity of Barbies is a new thing when they've introduced this since the 80s with racial diversity. And then their first doll in a wheelchair was put out in 1997, way before the diversity, equity, inclusion stuff reached this like slippery slope point where you can't escape it anymore. in 2023, the first Barbie doll depicted as having Down syndrome was released, and we talked about that. And I was like questioning it because this is made for probably parents to buy for their kids who have Down syndrome or maybe don't, so that they can pat themselves on the back and feel good about themselves, not because these kids have been clamoring for a doll with a disability, because these dolls are supposed to represent ideals and there's nothing wrong with that, you know? And I think it says more about how they feel about people with disabilities than us, you know?
You know how earlier I was saying they should make the Ben Shapiro doll that's like the wind-up doll where you pull the string back and it just spits 1,000 words a minute at you? Maybe they could release like a Barbie one where it's like Tourette's Barbie, where you pull the string back and it just stutters the whole time. It slurs and stutters the whole time.
That would
She
be
just
the
screams the
greatest
N-word.
Barbie ever released. You pull the string and let it go, and it's just slurred.
And then it stutters.
Just all kinds of racist remarks.
It's like, who's the influencer that has Tourette's? I can't remember
There
her
are
name.
tons of them now.
There's one of them that like that.
I think some of them are
Sweetenita
faking.
is,
Sweetenita is great.
Some of them are faking it though. Don't lie. You
Yeah.
know, I think a lot of them are faking having like Tourette's or these other like autism, something like that, just to grift.
Yeah.
Because it's trendy to have a disability or like mental illness now.
It's so hilarious, but it's trendy to have some kind of
Yeah.
like problem. It's
Yeah.
Well, I watch old television shows and I laugh at like I hear scenes where like I don't want to be seen as a victim. I'm like, oh man, that dates the shit out of this stuff because that is not the way it's looked at
Can't
nowadays.
you tell I'm a victim?
You mentioned that the Dr. Barbie is trans.
Yes, it's which means
So
it's
only men can be doctors now.
Mattel tacitly telling you that only men can be doctors. That is true. And then what they could have done is they could have done the nurse as a trans guy, because then only women can be nurses.
Well, that scene where Ryan Gosling is looking for a doctor and he thinks that only men in white coats can be doctors was weird because wouldn't it make more sense for Ken coming from the Barbie universe to think only women can have those jobs?
Well, that would make too much sense,
Right?
It
And
gets in
I'm
the way
not
of the
saying-
feminist messaging.
I have hopes for the Barbie movie that it's not going to be like a feminist train wreck. Genuinely, I do. But
It's not.
they're
you know
not
what
helping themselves with some of the media.
No,
that's
All
it's
the
just
things
the
that-
last couple of days of articles.
Yeah.
Like most of the promotion for this movie has been really, really good. It's
Yeah.
like what it really feels like to me. It's like these actors, they can't help themselves. The studio's like, please, anything but the intersectional feminism. Like, we already let you make your feminist movie.
thing is, they
let us
don't-
market it the right way.
And they're bad at it though, because all these inconsistencies and things that don't make sense that you guys are pointing out. The reason that you're seeing that is because they don't actually know the theory behind what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
And that's why you get like feminists doing unfeminist things or what are ostensibly feminist, but if you really look at it in a little more deeply, it's actually against feminism and stuff like that. And you get that when you deal with intersectionality, but don't really understand the theory.
OnlyFans Barbie coming soon to shelves near you.
To
I
me,
mean-
most of this stuff, it reeks of people who are insecure in their work, meaning they wish their job held more importance than it does.
I think
so.
that
They try to attribute more meaning to what they're making than there is.
There are people in Hollywood and in the entertainment industry that are not going to work with you unless you make these kinds of stories and stuff like that. So I don't think that it's a symptom of people having a significant desire to write these stories, because these stories they all have essentially the same story, you know.
I'm talking about the actors who
We've
were
got
getting
one
these
from
promotion
Dirk
from Dirk Devil.
Devil. He said, "Sorry, I'm still tripping. I realize I'm old and out of touch. Haven't been a teen for 30 years. We would have a rifle in the truck to go hunting after class. Wasn't it that way for you, Phil? Shouldn't the teen years be prep for adulthood with responsibility?"
I mean, it was not that way for me because I grew up in Massachusetts. It wasn't a very rural area. It was definitely the suburbs. But it was like still legal to do that kind of stuff in the 90s. It was probably when they were actually starting to push to get rid of like gun racks and stuff. But when I was a teenager, I didn't have to get all kinds of a bunch of stuff for a license. I could just get a license to carry or a license to have a gun and stuff.
And
so
at the end of the day, it would have been just as insidious back then if you had some, like back then, sure, you might have interacted with a lot of adults as a teenager. Were any of those adults people your parents didn't know about that weren't able to vet or know who was in your child's life. And if you had, Jim 2 doors down, who was a friend of the family, and Jim said, hey, what if I mail you my underwear? Like, that's a problem, right? For a 13-year-old in the 70s, for a 13-year-old in the 80s, and for a 13-year-old in the 90s.
Some things should never change.
It's like the underwear being mailed to kids is an omnipresent problem. It should never go away. It should always be bad.
The people watching this segment on Barbie are going to be so confused why we're talking
Yes.
about this.
Yeah. I'll cut it out.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Back to Barbie.
They're already talking about making a sequel, by the way, and the movie's not even out yet.
Barbie 2, Electric Boogaloo.
They're just going to make a spin-off with Kate McKinnon being the weird Barbie, which is a clever idea in and of itself, but she just looks like anyone who you would find in a gender studies class.
I don't know who Kate McKinnon is.
You don't?
Not off the top of my
She's
head.
playing weird Barbie in the movie, who's the Barbie that you like cut all of her hair off and draw on her face.
Oh, God.
Gets turned into satanic rituals by kids trying to be
Yeah.
edgy. And what I meant, Phil, when I was saying that it reeks of people wanting to seem more important than they were, I'm not talking about the writers of these articles. I'm talking about the actors who give the interviews and talk about, they dissect what Barbie means and what
Yeah.
Barbie means as a feminist icon to culture. It reeks of people who are like, look, I wasn't important enough to go into politics. I wasn't important enough to get a job at a university. I wasn't good enough to get a job at a university. I'm an actor. And what's sad is that should be fine. You have a job. Your job is to entertain people. There's nothing wrong with that. You don't need to ascribe a ton of deep motive or importance to something like a Barbie movie. It's not that deep.
That's why they say politics is show business for ugly people.
Exactly.
And show business is just politics for stupid people.
I really think they should have just made this movie for kids. Like, they should have just gone the Super Mario Brothers route and
Yeah.
made an animated movie for
Well,
girls.
they've already done animated movies before, so it wouldn't be seen the same way. But they really did some charity work with the casting for the other Barbies, because when you see Margot Robbie lined up with these other actresses, including the trans one, it's just like, it doesn't make much sense. Like, they should have had like Madison Beer, Paris Hilton, other hot bitches who also look like they would be dolls.
Yeah.
Not Issa Rae and Hari Neff.
You're not allowed to pick people that are the
And these
feminine
nobodies.
ideal like you used to be able to. Like, if we made this movie 20, 30 years ago, they would have had like the hottest
Yeah.
women. And it wouldn't have mattered race. They would have just picked the hottest women of all the races.
Yeah.
And it would have been fine.
I mean, they did that for the diverse college brochure in The Little Mermaid.
You know what we do here? They make a Bratz doll movie, and the Bratz doll movie just has all the smoke.
They're
and hot
probably
women.
already planning that.
If we get a Bratz doll movie,
Yeah.
and it's just a bunch of skanks that are
There has already been a live-action Bratz movie, but it did not do well.
really,
Yeah.
when
I can't remember. It
Holy
must have
crap.
been like
Who
the
was
late
in it?
2000s.
I didn't know that. That's amazing.
Brad's
Yeah.
movie.
It's yeah. So we just get all the you know what they'll do? They'll make the Bratz doll movie with a bunch of influencers, hot influencers. So it'll be
Ice
like
Spice.
Ice or
2007.
I guess would Amaranth qualify? Like, does Amaranth end up in the?
Gotta have the big blown-up lips.
Yep.
Yeah, the Bratz dolls were always seen as like your parents don't want you to have that doll. They want you to have Barbies.
Because Barbie was less controversial.
Yeah, and I don't know why.
Yeah.
Barbie wasn't a brat.
I guess.
The Bratz dolls kind of like had that aesthetic, right? Like
They were supposed to be the brat kids. They were the kids that didn't listen to mom and dad. They didn't do the things they were supposed to, right?
I liked Bratz dolls more than the Barbies, just because I thought their clothes were cuter.
There you go.
But
All right. I really do think that Margot Robbie right here is playing about as smart as he could. Like, if the run up to a feminist Barbie movie and all they get out of her is one article with like a bad headline that's kind of annoying, I think that she managed the media storm as
So
well
is
as
this
you could.
supposed to be a feminist Barbie show, or is it
It's
just
a feminist. It's Greta Gerwig is a feminist director, so yes. But here's the thing: they've done a really good job of not marketing it in that respect. It's been marketed as fun, and that's what they should be doing, marketing this as fun. But it seems like these outlets just hate fun. They
Yeah.
hate you. They hate me. They hate fun. And what they want to do is they want to torpedo any chance that you or I might have of 5 minutes away from any type of social justice messaging pocket of these studios. They would shut up right now and be talking about, here are the 5 hottest Barbie dolls over the ages. And they would just make
Yeah.
stuff like that. They would not be releasing articles like this.
yeah. Someone asked me if I ever got into the Cheetah Girls. Yes, I did. And that was also like when diversity and like girl power type feminism was the norm. And now it's just
You need to bring back
all negative and
plus like somebody was talking about like the Spice Girls recently. I'm like, can you imagine how depressing that would be now? Like if because they're all feminists now. Like they all talk feminist stuff now. Like they'd come back now and it would just be awful.
I mean,
like,
they were feminists.
Yeah, but they
it
were
was in a
feminists at a
different-
time when it was very, very like lighthearted.
Yeah.
They're feminists, but that was back when like women were like the focus of feminists. Now the focus of feminists is trans women or
I posted a picture on Twitter, like right when I restarted my Twitter, it was the picture of the Spice Girls from the Spice Girls movie where they meet the alien. And it's like, do you remember there was a time in America where we sent the Spice Girls to meet alternate life forms? They were our ambassadors to the world. We peaked, if we didn't peak at Shia LaBeouf making out with Megan Fox on a car in Transformers 2, or at the end of Transformers 1, we definitely peaked in 1998 when the Spice Girls met aliens and were our first contact with another life.
All right, let's go to Super Chats. Isaac Martinez said Tom Cruise is the savior of movies in theaters.
He does seem to be the only person who seems to be out there. Like, he's not focused on anything but making it fun to be into movies again. Whereas, like, even us, like, we're focused. We go see the movies. We're going to see Dial of Destiny tonight. But a lot of it comes back to a place of critique and complaint. He wants to bring you back to an era long since forgotten where movies were entirely an escapist dream. And that's not what it is anymore.
Chubbs' Farman said St. Mary, killer of all things cool to boomers. I bet she hates the Beach Boys as well. Trump voice, sad. Many such cases.
Do you hate the Beach Boys?
I don't feel any type of way about the Beach Boys.
She's like, I'm ambivalent about the Beach Boys. More like the ambivalent boys.
Quite Blackpilled said, saving the big super chats for episode 400. Any updates?
We're going forward. It should be Thursday of next week.
I'm excited for it.
Yeah, because again, guys, just a reminder. Next week, we're off the third. We're off the third. I think the rest of the company comes back the fourth, right? But I'm going to be out of town.
We weren't about to do episode 400 without Brett here.
Yeah, so
Simple as.
I will be out of town through the 5th. So we start again on the 6th. That will be episode 400.
Corey Anderson said, in response to the Miranda segment, you can't trust adult women with bangs like that.
Also, I do feel like it's really funny. I look at time has not been kind to her. There's some photos of her where she actually looks like a human being. There are some halfway decent photos of her, and then they all run that really unfortunate photo of her with the lipstick on, where she's making
that's in her character.
Yeah, but I'm saying they all run that photo under her name, Colleen Ballinger, not under Miranda Sings, and you're just like, man, that is too bad.
She used to be more attractive for sure, but sometimes when you're a bad person, it shows over the years.
As the access to innocent kids got cut off, she got more and more haggard.
You need to be discerning about bangs and which bangs are a red flag. I would say micro bangs are a big red flag.
That's when they're way up here.
My bangs, I would say, are not a red flag.
What is a micro bang?
Is when it's stops 1 inch down the forehead.
When you want to have an ugly hairstyle, you get micro bangs.
Okay.
Grofty said, I can hear the steam boiling off Phil, LOL. About Hawaii?
No, this was when we were talking about one of the things afterwards. I forget what it was.
Call Me Snow Possum said, is it wrong of me to interrupt a church service of a church that claims it's pro-LGBT plus PDF and pro-choice?
What church is saying PDF?
He's just kidding.
It's not wrong, but you're biting off a whole lot of your afternoon is booked after that.
Yeah.
Let's do one more and then we'll move on.
Okay. Unusable Alpaca said, in high school in Houston, Texas, we had guns in the gun rack in our trucks in 2000. Never had an issue. In 2000, that's surprising just because of Columbine.
But Columbine was 99, so maybe the culture hadn't changed yet around that.
I guess so.
You were still there. All right, let's move on, shall we, ladies? Oh, there we go.
Thank
you. Your scream is in there. There it is.
Yelling.
Oh, thank you, Ian. Thank you, Carter. Thank you, guys. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about Madonna, because Madonna was intubated and rushed to ICU yesterday. It was a big story in the news. It came out right as the show was going off air. But there has been some speculation now that first, of course, you had to have the main people who come out and they're saying it's related to the vaccine, of course.
Or they were saying it's long COVID because she got intubated at the hospital.
Yeah, so first it was COVID, and now we're also seeing some speculation that this could be related to all of the plastic surgery she's gotten.
Yeah, so her manager posted on Instagram saying that this is a very bad bacterial infection, which makes some people speculate that it's related to complications of plastic surgery.
And let me know, bacterial infection is no fun. No fun. None of this, nothing like that is ever a pleasant experience, nor is anybody wishing ill upon Madonna.
Yeah.
As annoying as she may be at times. I was thinking,
she's still relatively young. She's only in her 60s, and it doesn't make sense for her physical health. I mean, I know her mental health is kind of crazy, but this getting hospitalized like this doesn't make much sense because she seems to be in relatively good physical health. So I would bet it's related to all of that foreign silicone that's been injected into her face and her body.
I was looking at I was looking through some social media profiles recently, looking for possible guests for the show, and I saw this one from somebody, because was it who is the Adrienne Curry, who talks about how she had implants and had them removed because of a bad reaction to them, or was that somebody else? Or was that
I don't know if Adrienne.
A lot of people have talked about that.
Okay.
Recently.
There was somebody else that said it was literally somebody who advertised himself as anti-breast enhancement activist because of the lack of attention that's paid to complications, given how common it is.
Well, with breast implants, you have to get them removed and replaced every 10 years, I believe, on an interval like that. And if you don't, then it could give you a serious infection, or basically you'll get an autoimmune response because there is a foreign body inside of your body that your immune system is going to attack.
It is crazy to think about how a lot of this stuff is invented, and it's just there can't have been any long-term research on how it affects the body, right? It's just, you just give them a go. I still believe that one day we're going to pay the piper for phones. Really, when you think about how quickly cell phones became a thing, there wasn't enough long-term study to know whether this is going to nuke our brains or not one day.
Yes, there was. The thing is, cell phones are just radios.
Okay.
So they operate on radio frequencies. It's just the technology inside them makes them seem like they're not just walkie-talkies, but it's the same technology. It's just different frequencies.
So, but there's still plenty of stuff right now where, like you said, forever, however long implants have been around, I wonder how long it was before somebody realized that at a certain point you needed to have them removed and replaced because of adverse reactions.
Yeah, and this is just as experimental and risky as these gender transition surgeries. Yep. It's just for different reasons that people get them. So here are some speculations on Twitter. Madonna and plastic surgery both started trending when the news broke that she was hospitalized. One person said, I wonder if Madonna's bacterial infection is from her BBL and face injections she recently redid. She was lucky the first time, but the second time may have been too much for her elderly body to handle. Plastic surgery gets tricky at her advanced age. Another one said, I could be wrong, but what if plastic surgery contributed to the bacterial infection Madonna suffered? As someone who's always been a major advocate for women, she should be able to embrace natural aging and not go under the knife as often. She needs to prioritize her health again. And we were also talking about this because Blac Chyna recently got all of the silicone in her butt taken out, and all of her fillers that were in her face dissolved. And this stuff seriously can affect your health. A lot of people don't know that because it enriches the doctors that do these procedures, and they won't tell you the risks because they want more customers. Yep. But yeah, it can be seriously dangerous, and not just for your physical health, but for your mental health as well, to have such a distorted self-image. Madonna seriously does. I think even just in the 2010s, she looked so much better. If you just look at pictures of her from the 2010s, she looks totally normal. and for some reason has gone off the deep end with these surgeries and
somebody told me
fillers.
she fixed the tooth gap. That made me sad. I liked when she had the tooth gap. I thought that was very charming and part of her personality. I remember when she randomly showed up in a James Bond movie. She was in Die Another Day, and she's got the tooth gap, and you're just like, oh, wow, Madonna. That's awesome. And it is sad. And there's a distinction to be made between a woman who gets a procedure done as she's aging and somebody who has this much cosmetic surgery over and over again. It's no one's business to tell her what to do other than herself, but complications are going to arise, and it's a fair discussion to have about what it says about how we've raised women to have a lot of body dysmorphia. I mean, it happens with men now too, but obviously with women it's so much more prevalent.
Have you seen these horrifying videos where men are getting rhinoplasties? Like, usually men with ethnic noses, they're getting rhinoplasties to have this little like effeminate button nose because they have like this dysmorphia about their face.
Believe it or not, that hasn't shown up in my timeline. No.
Yeah, I've seen plenty of examples of it, and it's a heinous crime in my opinion because it just doesn't. When you have a certain genetic makeup, it doesn't make sense for you to have literally a Eurocentric feature like that. It looks incredibly disturbing and like gives me uncanny valley to look at it.
Yeah.
But Madonna is like really gone off the deep end getting these surgeries,
and she's so far along in the process that if this is one of those things where somebody's had 1 or 2 procedures done and something really bad happens, they're more likely to come out as an advocate against it. But I don't see that being the case here. I see this. It's kind of like they say, like, it's easier to trick someone than to convince them they've been tricked. Like, I don't think that she's going to allow it. And again, this is all theory. There's no proof whatsoever that this is what caused this stuff. It's just a fair question to ask, that if it was these things that made her sick, she's so far along that I don't see it being the type of thing where she says, oh, now I need to go back the other way and start advocating, like, look, maybe you guys should hold up. Maybe you should wait. Like, you're just going to lean harder into it.
I mean, even if it, if she does come out of this okay and unscathed, that's what we're hoping for. But if that happens, she's definitely not going to be like, oh, hey, I had a revelation when I was healing and getting better, and now I'm going to actually spend time telling people don't do. That is not going to happen. Like, there's no part of me that believes that's
obviously the detransitioning debate is far more politicized, but I think we're going to see more and more people getting plastic surgeries over the years who are going to, like, I guess, detransition in their own way from just the negative health effects from getting all of these. And I don't think it's like evil or morally wrong necessarily to get a cosmetic procedure, especially if you do it sparingly and you do it in a way that's like corrective. Like, if you have had a bunch of children and you want to get a tummy tuck, like, that's different from changing the entire shape of your body and face, which is what Madonna has done.
People are going to do all of the stuff that they can do to their bodies to make them as augmented as possible, regardless of how anyone feels about it. The better. It's
transhumanists.
Yeah. There's absolutely going to be transhumanists that will do everything they can, upgrade their hearing, upgrade their vision, upgrade their musculature. If you could give people like Wolverine's adamantium
fake muscles
bones,
are the craziest.
That would happen.
Have you seen the fake muscles?
Yes,
that stuff's crazy.
All of that stuff is coming.
Ab implants, which
absolutely.
I think Elliot Page got the ab implants.
Those are just cosmetic, and I think that, while I do agree that cosmetic stuff is going to be a large driver, as soon as they can do augmentation, like. That's going to be a hot ticket. There's going to be people that are going to be like, oh, you mean I can walk and not get tired? Yeah, I want that.
Do you think a big part of this comes from, like, look, back in the day, before you had a phone in your pocket, before you were constantly online, the people you saw on a daily basis the most were regular looking people. Now you spend so much time on the internet, you spend so much time on your phone looking at Photoshop versions of people, looking at videos with a ton of post special effects on them. Like, we are now looking at idealized forms so often that it makes it harder for us to grasp what's actually in front of us, which are regular looking people, and that leads to more of a reason for people to feel uncomfortable in their own bodies if the people they see the most are people that are being shown at their height of their peak fitness rather than actually seeing what normal people look like on a regular basis?
The idea that what normal people look like is going to be important in the future, I think is going to go away. I don't think that what normal people look like is going to be very high on most people's list, because right now people don't find themselves looking at normal people, and what people want to see is becoming the perfected idealized idea.
But even then, like, you go to Target now and all the models in the ads are just regular looking people. Like, you don't see a lot of idealized beauty at Target anymore.
Yeah, but then when you give people the option to create their own in avatars and stuff like that, they're either complete freaks, you know, like, because that's some of the stuff that me and my friends do. Like, you just make the guy, like, your character look as weird. If you can put clown hair on them, give them horns, whatever, to make them look freaky, so that way the cutscenes are really hilarious. You got this weird looking, you know. Anyways, but otherwise, like, people make their avatars as cool looking as they can. Diablo just came out, and everybody's putting up pictures of the avatars they created in Diablo, and they're all different and stuff. And that's what people are gonna do. The more they can use avatars and apply that kind of stuff to real life, I think they're gonna end up doing it. That's why you see people that are doing things like cosplay more and fursuits and stuff and their conventions. You're going to see people walking around in reality dressed up like that more and more.
Which is why we need to bring back bullying.
I mean, you can bring back bullying, but we were just talking about augmented human beings, and I'm not going to try to bullyate the Terminator. I'm not going to try to bully
Bullyate.
them.
We need
I'm
to
just
make that a
saying,
word.
if someone is walking around in a fursuit, I'm going to publicly shame them.
Yeah. But,
Have you noticed that they all have, like, these...
You're protected by the fact that it's socially unacceptable.
That make themselves look harmless, or they, like, a lot of these online leftists, especially, they make cartoon avatars of themselves that look nothing like the horrifying reality of what they look like.
Yes, because they don't want
it's escapism.
Yeah. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You are protected because it is socially unacceptable to hit people, to hit women. Whereas if a guy just goes up and shames the Terminator, he's getting knocked out.
You know? Seriously.
I don't know, but these days it's equal rights, equal fights. So.
No, that everyone says that, but that's not how it's actually interpreted. Sure, the comment section might bear that out, but your how it's actually applied in the real world does not hold that water. I could be wrong, because I guess, like, world star hip hop is still a thing, and there are plenty. Like, I have watched many compilation videos of, like, the woman just tearing the dude apart in a restaurant and then hits him, and then he hits her, and then, like,
lights out.
And it's just like,
yeah.
And it's like, and there's nothing you can take away from that other than, like, whatever, like, not my business, and
don't hit people.
Nobody lay hands on other people.
Don't hit
right?
people.
Just leave people alone.
Yeah.
All right. Do you think this is the type of thing that, do you think this is what caused it for Madonna, or do you think that this was just an unfortunate event?
I don't know. It doesn't make much sense other than this
I mean,
hypothesis.
people get sick. I mean,
Right,
was she on? I know she postponed a tour to do this. If she's on the road and because you can become immunocompromised from being on the road, you're not sleeping right well, you're not eating right.
So
she first postponed the tour because of her child trafficking allegations, but I don't know if you guys are ready to get into
I
that
forgot about that
topic.
So you can be, the road can make you tired. She is in her 60s. But like, the thing is, like, the way the Madonna tours is not, like, it's not like when All That Remains is touring. Like, we're a successful band that, we don't tour, we don't slum it. We're not taking a van, we don't take a bandwagon. We're gonna get in a bus, and then we're gonna have a full crew, and it's gonna be comfortable. Even that is like, all right, you're probably not gonna have, like, the real, you got worn out from overworking, blah blah blah. At least not if you're managing your time properly. Madonna, I don't know what her tour schedule's like, but I imagine that she's staying in hotel rooms every night. She's not lugging her bags up to her room.
No.
It's funnier. It's funnier if she is. She's actually super polite behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Like, have you ever seen that video? There was the thing that came out when they were promoting John Wick 4, where they were building one of the sets, and Keanu's, like, helping the guys who are building the sets bring the bags up the stairs.
That's Keanu Reeves.
We got one from Ertez 00. He said, "I'm actually actively working out hard to complain mash burn dead. Funny anime about jacked dude using muscles against magic. Either that or I'd go One Punch Man.
Look, getting in shape is important, right? It's important to get in shape, or to, at the very least, like any physical activity that gets you out of your head for a little bit, even if it's not the focus isn't to get in shape, but just to have something to do other than just like a lot of times when I'm scrolling Twitter and I see people fighting, all I can think about is how much of this would be solved if you just got off your phone and went for a walk.
Just go for a walk.
Anything.
Like you can even walk with your phone and like
touch grass.
You can scroll.
I don't like that.
Take pictures of grass and post it.
Right?
Touch grass has been turned into an insult now because it's used as like a kick rocks, like
every time you get in an online argument, they say touch grass, and then if you actually do touch grass and go away from your phone for a while, they're like, you're dodging the question, you're dodging the criticism, whatever. So you can't win.
Yeah, for me, it's like I have like an internal clock now that tells me when I've been on my phone too long. And the hardest time for that is like on a work night when it's late at night when I don't have the option. Like I'm not going to go skate at 1 a.m. on a work night, at least not on a regular basis. Sometimes I'll be out till that late, but I'm not going to go out at that time. But I've been on my phone too long. I know I've been on my phone too long. And there's not really a recourse at that point. But if it's the middle of the day, if you're done with work and you have the ability to get away from your phone, do it. It's the best thing for you, even if it's just for a little bit.
I think Madonna could use some time off of her phone.
She could do some
away from TikTok
and away from the child trafficking and the.
Yeah.
Like also, it's like how much do you really want to give the lady the benefit of the doubt who still thinks it's like edgy to like make fun of Christians? Like that's still her thing. Like she's still making fun of religion as if it's the 80s. Like,
that's like what the whole Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence and essentially every pride parade is taunting Christians.
Yeah,
it's funny because as they were like parading around these drag queens, the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence or whatever they call themselves, there were less people in the seats than were outside protesting. Yeah. So I think the tide is turning on that.
Also, like with that stuff, like isn't that kind of on the church for like inviting these groups to like talk to the Pope? I saw something where like one of
they're not like part of the Catholic Church.
The artist who created Piss Christ was like invited to speak to the Pope. Like,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, like the guy who created, which a lot of people found to be extremely blasphemous, got to go and meet the Pope.
I am not a Catholic, and I'm an agnostic kind of person, but even I can tell that the Pope is not he's a heretic.
He's not adhering to the
as far as anybody raised Catholic can tell.
Well,
like it looks to me like that is like a dude that is infiltrated.
He
the
might
Catholic
have said
Church.
some things that are confusing, that lack clarity, that possibly qualify as a material heresy, but he's not a formal heretic. I'll at least say that. But you, as a Catholic, you don't have to like the Pope, thankfully. You don't even have to know anything about him. I'm just going to take that approach. Look into the Pope's comments and all of these church politics as little as possible.
So two winters ago, Luke for Christmas got me a movie called Donald Trump vs. Aliens. And apparently they made a sequel called Donald Trump and the Pope vs. Aliens.
Okay.
That like
and he really just wanted you to see it.
Amazing.
Okay.
Donald Trump and the Pope versus aliens.
I never somebody told me that. I never saw the actual because I went and looked for it and I couldn't find it. Like maybe somebody was pulling was ribbing me, but I was like, I just love the idea that they just make a bunch of sequels that just become like Avengers movies.
The Pope
where it's Trump and a bunch of people versus aliens. Every time he's got to add a new person. Eventually it will be just like Trump and the ghost of Ayn Rand against aliens. Like I'm here for it.
By the way, someone said don't defend the Pope, Mary. I'm not defending the Pope, and I'm not like some kind of Pope Francis stan, to be clear. Let's go to Superchats.
Wait, is there such a thing as Pope Francis stans?
There are.
Okay.
There are.
Okay. It's like, are we going to enter a world one day, like by the time the next pope comes around, he's basically an influencer, and it's just
please
influencer
no.
pope.
We've done worse, though. Shane H. Wilder said at Snow Possum's comments, I would say if it was a Catholic mass, address it with the priest after, and if that doesn't work, go to the bishop. In the end, if nothing works, find another church with more reverence. That's good advice. I don't know if I would have the self-control not to say something in the middle of it, but yeah, you're probably right there. Carnell said, let's be honest, Brett, we know that you're excited for the rollerblading scene with Barbie and Ken. I expect a fresh out-of-theater review of the movie and a thorough breakdown of the blade technique.
It's going to send the industry back 20 years again.
Of course it is.
Just like it did in the 90s with the Veriflex skates and the neon colors. It will send my sport back 20 years.
Not in a good way?
Not in a good way. Like, luckily, I'm post-industry, so I do it because I love the sport. Like, the greatest thing for me was the day I quit sponsors and just started doing it for fun again, because you don't have to care about all of the stuff that's connected to it. But I saw those.
When did you do that?
2014.
Okay.
Look at the bright side, Brett. If it gets sent back 20 years, it's 20 years before like politically motivated people started infiltrating. The
I still
sport.
tell people this day, I'm like, I go to skate parks and people are nice, and I'm like, this sucks. Like, I miss the days when everybody hated each other at skate parks. It was so much more honest.
Bring back the toxicity.
It was so much more honest when everyone's just like a jerk to everyone else, because everyone was naturally cliquey. That's real. That's how human beings actually are. I go there now and someone's like, hey, what's up? I'm like, don't do that. Don't do that. Like,
don't.
I don't need your fake virtue. Like,
Disco Jensen said, who do you pitch your optimistic script to when it's been mandated that only scripts that divide, break down, or mock culture get made?
Who do you pick? The Daily Wire, I guess.
Timcast.
The Daily Wire.
Pitches at timcast.com is where you send them.
Maybe Breitbart will make it. I don't know.
Make it yourself, basically.
You know what we need? We need who's the Nolte? We need Nolte to make a movie. It would be incredible.
And we need Nolte on the show.
So bad.
Bad Kitty Mama said, enjoy your time back home, Brett.
I'm very excited to go. I decided to like get a hotel. It's like, I love my family, but I'm not staying with the family.
Understandable.
And be able to get around on your own.
It's the move.
It's like 10 years ago, you can't afford it. You stay with whoever you can. Now it's like, can I afford it? I can't afford not to. That's
Can't afford.
I don't know if I can afford it, but I know that I can't afford not to. It is what it is.
Call Me Snow Possum said, you're not wrong. If it was what led to my jail time, but to TBH worth it?
Okay.
Interrupting a church service is what led to your jail time, or
If so, amazing. Like, that's
right.
amazing. But getting your life back on track, dude, again, back to his point, like, I love hearing stories like that, like people who overcome a lot of hard times, because I feel like a lot of the instinct is to, as much as people want to talk about tolerance and as much as we talk about acceptance, everyone still finds it's okay to rag on people when they feel like they've done something awful, and like that person was in jail, so it's okay to rag on them. And certainly if that's what you or I have been through, you have to learn to accept that when it comes. That's part of the territory of growing up and coming to terms with your own actions. But it doesn't mean you or I have to predicate that on other people. We don't need to perpetrate that on others. So if you have to look at how far you've come and not how far back you go. And I have that problem sometimes. I focus a little bit too much on the past and not enough on how much change has happened since then. So keep growing, brother.
just don't look to us as role models.
Never look to me as a role model in particular. No, just bad. Not a good thing.
Corey USMC said, hey, I'm just coming into the stream, but this Miranda Sings thing for real, because no one has been able to send me actual proof, screenshots, screen recorded videos, just people's statements. Well, we did that on our original coverage of the topic, but there are also like videos from Adam McIntyre you can look at where he shows all of the screenshots and everything. If
you search in YouTube Pop Culture Crisis and Miranda Sings, we showed the video when we covered this the first time.
Perturbed Alpaca said it's equal rights, equal fights till the cops show up.
That is true. That is true.
Be
All right.
careful out there.
It's also equal rights till the divorce court comes, and then it's all right. Let's hold off on the rest. We will come back. All right, let us talk about Roseanne, because Roseanne is being canceled for comedy, ladies and gentlemen.
Unacceptable.
Exactly. Not just that, but also it's like it's very, very disingenuous misinterpretation of what she said. Where they're like, she claims it was a joke. It was very clearly a joke.
I mean, she's a comedian. You should probably err on the side of not taking everything she says literally.
Her son defends her comments about, quote, denying the very, very bad thing that happened during World War II. Can we say that word on air? I have no idea.
We're going to show the clip.
Okay,
so.
well, let's watch the 1 minute clip
She
here.
went on Theo Von's podcast and said this, and his reaction is the funniest part.
Let's give some context beforehand, though. So,
Yeah.
because I don't want to show the
she
5 minute video, but
she was sarcastically riffing about,
Censorship.
election stuff and censorship on social media. And she was like, it's really great that we are mandated by the government to affirm that 81 million votes can come from 36 counties. And she was just like joking about that before saying this.
Yes. So it was very clearly joking.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Truth. And nobody.
It's on
And that is the truth. And nobody died in the Holocaust either.
No.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
It should happen. 6 million Jews should die right now because they cause all the problems in the world, but it never happened.
Look at his face.
But it never happened.
Yeah.
Mandated.
Well, because you're part Jewish, right? Part of your family's Jewish?
I'm all Jewish.
You're all Jewish.
100%.
And a lot of Hollywood is Jewish, yeah? It's like
Easy.
It's like, you really want to go there?
Hollywood.
Yeah.
Right. But so was it weird
Just
that...
like rap. Black people started rap.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't go over there and try to get in rap and go, all these black people, go on Saturday Night Live like Dave Chappelle. I'm just saying a lot of black people are in control of rap.
Right.
Hello? Well, you went there. You
Yeah.
try to get in show business. Of course it's Jewish. But, and people should be glad that it's Jewish too, because if Jews were not controlling Hollywood, all you'd have was fucking fishing shows.
Yeah.
I immediately wanted to go watch old clips of the Red Green show after I saw this.
All you'd have is fucking fishing shows.
Look, it's
And then,
very clearly sarcasm.
Theo Von also quote tweeted this viral clip and said, "This Roseanne Barr clip was sarcasm, folks. A clip taken out of a long sarcastic rant she had during our chat. Can we not recognize sarcasm anymore?"
Did he handle it great? Because when she went there, his face is like, "Oh, we're going there, are
Yeah.
we?" He's like, he had to steel himself for what was coming. He's like, "Oh boy,
Yeah.
I can already see the clips coming." Like he's like, "I can
it's like
already."
the classic, like, I'm not gonna get political, and then me after one drink.
Yeah, so that's why the Fed is causing all of our problems.
Oh, God, it's too funny.
Roseanne's son added, "We think it's funny that people are so stupid. Let's stop doing this clickbait shit. We need to focus on big problems in America. Focusing on out of context clips is what morons do."
And that's why I said it was important that we give context beforehand, because the media is being disingenuous in their portrayal of it. It's kind of like the thing. It's kind of like the thing we were talking about yesterday. Like, in an effort to make some kind of point.
Grofty says, "Pure love to Roseanne, heart emoji, my second mom. Take it or talk it out, darn it."
My favorite part of this is just the other. Did you see the thing about how what's his name? The guy who plays her husband. I forget the actor.
Tom Arnold?
No, it's not Tom Arnold. What's John
Goodman?
John Goodman. So John Goodman, just the other day, he lost like 200 pounds.
Yeah.
He's had a glow up. But
Yeah.
John Goodman's had his major glow up. He just the other day, right before this happened, he goes, "I feel real bad for what happened." Or like, because she got fired from Roseanne, and they had to make it the Connors, right? So like just right before this happened, he's like, "Oh man, I kind of felt bad for her after her cancellation."
It's horrible
And then
timing.
this happened, like right after, and you just know he's like, "Oh, the timing is horrible."
The thing is, people have to acknowledge and point out that this isn't genuine. Like all the people attacking her, they're not attacking her because they believe that she actually did something wrong.
Yeah.
They're attacking her because she's a comedian that will say offensive things in her routine, and they don't want comedians that will say offensive things because they are the new Puritans.
Yep.
The jokes that are,
and they pull the ladder up behind them.
well, yeah, I mean, they do. But like the thing is, this is the stuff that she's saying is edgy today, right? But it wasn't particularly edgy 30 years ago or 20 years ago, that was it was different things, like sexual things were edgy back then, and that's why
It's the opposite now.
Yeah,
now
Andrew
the
Dice
only
Clay,
humor you're allowed to do is sexual humor.
Yeah, it's like Andrew Dice Clay would say things that were edgy and funny, and Eddie Murphy was saying things that were edgy and funny. But nowadays, the comedy that they said back then, a lot of it is no longer edgy and funny, or well, it's still funny, but a lot of it is no longer edgy because sensibilities have changed.
There was literally just a Babylon Bee meme the other day. It says like female comedian goes 6 seconds before mentioning her vagina. Like, because that's what all female comedians on stand-up seem to fall back on, is that type of crude humor. But that's like, we were talking about the movie that just came out with Jennifer Lawrence, in which like basically the only humor you're allowed to do nowadays is either self-deprecating, punching down, which of course means straight white men, or I guess punching up, which means you're allowed to punch up at straight white men, but also like you're allowed to make sexual crude humor because Hollywood is sexual and crude. And sure, the sexual crude humor should be fine if it's humor, but you have to also say, why is that allowed, but the jokes about the other stuff isn't allowed? It's just very, very, it's biased in how it's enforced, and it's extremely pointless.
Well, I mean, I feel like it's the point of it is trying to dictate what is acceptable in society. You know, if you can't joke about things, or if you're not allowed to make jokes about stuff, it's like that's the stuff that is that the Puritans essentially are saying are off limits. You know, and that's probably the stuff that we should be making jokes about.
Seeing it happen in humor is the worst too, because that should be the place where you're allowed to, like,
Yeah.
look, I was
Thank you.
I was making the distinction. You were gone all last week, so the sub, you were gone through
Yeah.
all of the sub, right? And the point was, during the sub, I was like, I laughed at every single one of the memes, but also was like, kind of like, why are these people on Twitter actively excited about these people dying?
Yeah, because
There's a difference there.
Yeah.
Like there's a big difference, and it's one of the clearest cut examples I've seen recently. Thank you. It's one of the clearest cut examples recently where I've seen like there is a difference. There's a point to where you're just celebrating rich people dying because they're rich, because your point is that because they're wealthy it makes it okay.
Yep.
Those are the people, like, if you wonder what would happen in the communist revolution, the people who want to put you against the wall, those are the people that are happy to do that.
Yeah.
Who see no problem in
real life they're weaklings.
Yes.
And on social media they act harder than they are.
but if given the power of the state, they would absolutely enforce
you
it.
say that, but a couple just the other day in New York City, one of the primaries, the DSA candidate won.
Mm-hmm.
So that's actual communists are winning elections in the United States of America.
Yep.
So we can say, oh, you know, we can mock them and stuff like that, but the idea that they're not a clear and present danger to the United States, that is wrong.
Yeah.
Communists and the attitude that communists have is absolutely a danger to the United States because we are a liberal country and they are totalitarians. That's why you can't make jokes about the things that they say you're not allowed to make jokes about, because they're totalitarians.
And it's all unevenly enforced and done purely for the sake of grabbing more power, which is why
100%, yep.
it's okay for somebody else to make jokes. Actually, it's getting to a point now where like nobody's really allowed to make jokes. Like it's not even unevenly enforced.
Yeah.
It's just becoming a blanket rule, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where
I mean, I do think that the uneven enforcement in this case would be that if Roseanne Barr weren't Jewish, she would get way more backlash for this joke.
yeah.
That's just true. And I think that we should be judging it based on whether it's funny or not. And if it's funny, I don't care who's saying it.
Absolutely. Like that's and a lot of people aren't willing to make that, like they feel that way, but they're not willing to actually stand by that because it's easier to just say like, oh, it's like you can only make a comment.
It's dangerous to speak out. I mean, if you have a job and you say, oh no, it's okay, someone might go to your job and be like, oh, this person said this. Mm-hmm. Those kinds of things are real, actual possibilities. And again, that points to the fact that the Puritans that are in charge of what is public sensibilities or whatever, the people that set what is and is not acceptable, those people are very heavily influenced by totalitarians. That's a whole conversation as to why it's a good thing that Elon Musk bought Twitter. That's exactly why. To push back against totalitarians that are dictating what is and is not acceptable speech. Whether it's acceptable jokes or whatever. And there are spots where, you know, it's going to be applied in a unfair way, an uneven way, whether it be someone like Musk owning Twitter or someone like, you know, when it was Jack Dorsey, but it's going to be applied in a more fair way if liberals are in charge than if totalitarians are in charge. So
in this case right now with comedians, do you think that there's a strong example of someone who's doing it right that seems to be pushing through? I feel like Andrew Schultz does a good job. I feel like Ryan Long does a good job. Schultz is bigger at this point, right? Because he was just in the UK.
Yeah, Schultz is bigger in part. I think part of the reason Schultz is bigger is because he's like homies with
mainstream.
He's homies with Joe Rogan, if I understand correctly. But he has some great bits that he does, and he's able to walk the line without going too far into like the right. He points at the things that the right point at, and he makes jokes about them without sounding like he's a right winger.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yep.
Even Ryan Long's really funny and stuff, but he's definitely making jokes from a right leaning perspective.
His skits are more neutral than his comedy. Like his skits tend to be something that points out the follies of both sides, right?
Okay.
Like the one recently where he talked to me, he was like, I'm a cameraman who documents like rallies and protests. He goes, it's like, and it's pointless if you can only sell half the footage. Here's the footage of the protesters beating up the cops. I obviously sell that to Fox News. Here's the cops responding and beating the crap out of the protesters. I obviously sell that to CNN. Like he understands that there's ridiculousness on both sides, and I feel like that comes out in his actual skits better than just his comedy. Also, the woke versus racist skit is iconic.
That's a great bit.
But also like the who's the other one that's Die? What's that guy's name? Somebody in the chat might do, but there's a couple of comedians out there right now that are doing fairly good work in the middle. But all of those people will eventually have to make that decision if they go more mainstream, which means if they're going to get into things other than just stand up, if you're going to go get the roles on TV shows, if you're going to appear on specials, if you're going to go and do these talk show circuits, you're going to have to make a choice between the type of jokes you want to be able to tell and whether you want to fall in line with the mainstream narrative.
I think you're probably right to a degree, but I do think that the woke, whatever, if you want to call it that, or whatever that
hate
kind
that
of
word,
perspective.
but I understand, yeah.
I do. I hate it as well, but I think that sensibility is getting a lot of pushback because of, you know, Pride Month this year and all of the stuff with trans kids or whatever, and trans people saying there are trans kids and all of that hubbub. I think that there's a lot of people that are really tired of the quote unquote woke stuff, and I think you're going to see a lot of parents pushing back, and when you see parents pushing back, you're going to see businesses and stuff respond.
It's going to be interesting to see how Pride Month goes next year.
I have a feeling Pride Month is going to be significantly lower key. The last 2 weeks of Pride Month are different than the first 2 weeks. The first 2 weeks this year, it was very, you know, Pride was out there and et cetera, et cetera. Well, exactly.
Pride Month really started in May.
And that's a good point. It started early. And then when businesses realized that people were kind of not having it and all that stuff with Target popped off at the beginning of this month, this past month, like the last 2 weeks of this month have really toned down the Pride stuff. It's not like being, at least in my feed, it's not being shoved into my feed as much the way that as it was.
No, I think it's presumptuous because there's nobody more annoying than that girl who says it's my birthday month. Like, is that not the most narcissistic thing in the entire world?
It is.
Like, birthday week, bad. Birthday month, just no.
And then Pride Month is basically the same thing. It's like, pay attention to me and celebrate me.
Now it's Pride season. Rachel Levine, whatever his name is,
right. And then
said
eventually
that it's Pride season.
It's going to be Pride year, and then it's just going to be state mandated homosexuality, just like Sam Hyde said it would happen.
It'll be suck her dick bigot.
Can't wait.
That's what it's going to be.
As far as Roseanne, I think it's unfortunate that even after she's been canceled and she's been deplatformed and all of this, she's still being judged by the same rubric
of
of
course.
whether you're punching up or punching down.
hate
And
that.
she does get more leeway for saying a joke like this just because she's Jewish, which, you know, isn't something that she chose. She was born this way.
Maybe they're just
And,
like, look, she's a woman. She's not funny.
Well, I think that she should be judged on whether she's making a funny joke or not on like her identity markers that make it acceptable or not to say those things. If she were saying a sarcastic joke like this that didn't land and it wasn't funny to anyone, then sure, like trash her for being unfunny because her job is to be a comedian. But I don't like that she's still like getting excused for saying a joke based on the fact that she's Jewish, you know?
Yeah.
Because like a white person would never be allowed to say a joke like that.
I don't feel like she's getting excused. I feel like she takes a lot of heat as it is.
Well, she is getting a lot of heat, but it's like relative to how she was canceled before for something way less. I'm
Those
just saying,
those
like,
bad
it's
Ambien
unfortunate.
trips, man. You don't want it.
Even like a black comedian would get more leeway for saying a joke about the Holocaust than a white comedian. It still has nothing to do with their race.
Yeah.
Like just make a funny joke, you know?
Well, it's because, you know, the white guy is the original sin now, so
Yeah.
it is what it is. All right, let's go to Super Chats.
Shane H. Wilder said, there's a vast difference between cosmetic implants and necessary surgeries. I didn't get a metal plate in my arm for SNGs. I don't know what that is.
Shits and giggles.
Shits and
Oh,
giggles.
I did it because I snapped the sucker in half right below the ball joint. Well, yes, there are degrees of like whether a cosmetic procedure is necessary or not.
There are
but-
people that cut their tongue in half.
Yeah.
So that way they can have two sides. There will be people that will do any number of things to their body given the opportunity.
In the chat, McSavage in 1975 says, we need more Reacher in Tulsa King now, damn it. I support this, my friend. I just thought I'd draw some attention to it because I've been seeing some promotion for season 2 of Reacher in which, you know, the guy, the actor, Alan Ritchson, once again proves that men just want to, you know, get in shape and be buff and be awesome. And the dude's like, he's like sharing his workout routine and it's ridiculous. And it's like, does he really need to be that big for the role? Probably not, but the dude's just awesome. So give Alan Ritchson all the superhero, all the action roles now. While you still can, Hollywood, you will re-inject some actual testosterone back into your industry. Be fantastic.
Call me Snow Possum. This one doesn't make sense to me. He said, y'all don't hit people. Me. No, you tell you me. LOL.
I think you meant now you tell me.
Now you tell me?
Now you
Oh.
tell me.
Okay. Proofreading, guys. It's important. High Voltage 75 said, I always thought touch grass was an insult. Grass really irritates my skin when I touch it, especially when I rolled around in it as a kid.
I don't think it was it's not originally supposed to be an insult, but now it's become one on the internet because it's basically saying like you're disconnected from reality. Go reconnect.
Boosted Yogi said, bring back fruit booters, scooter fairies, and wood pushers.
That was the word. You said the word out loud that we didn't say the other day because of, But yes, bring back all the insulting terms. I'm fine with it. As long as you're being honest, you know, that's fine. If you want to call me names, I can just ignore you, but don't pretend to be nice. It's just rude and just stupid.
Call Me Snow Possum said, I don't condone what I did, and I don't suggest other people do so. After I interrupted it, I ended up putting my hands on someone.
Definitely
That's
not something to be advocated for.
Probably not a good idea.
Nope.
Yeah. Shane H. Wilder said, we don't have thick skin anymore. My favorite stand-up is George Carlin's Class Clown, even though half of it was making fun of Catholicism.
Yeah.
Well, Christians are better at taking a joke about their own faith than anyone else. That's for sure. Grofty said, Roseanne is a wealth of information. No filter.
I'm telling you, man, don't go. Whatever Roseanne does, she shouldn't go on those Ambien trips anymore. That's a bad. I mean, it's a great
lesson
time.
learned.
It's a great time. It's just not good for your career. It's not good.
Nathan Simpson said 2 people from the sound department were also inducted into the academy. 2 boom ops, sound utilities. As a sound mixer, this encourages me.
That's awesome. Now they just need to add the award for actual stunt work into the academy. That needs to be a thing.
High Voltage 75 said, you guys remember Roseanne's national anthem performance? She's never been afraid to piss people off.
I don't remember that. What was that?
She was hilarious. Roseanne cannot sing.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
That's awesome. I
Better than
support that.
Fergie's national anthem?
Oh God, it was better. It's so good.
It's, or do you remember when Beyonce did it and like she rips her earpiece out as if she's singing live, but she's not singing live, and then they like called her on it and she got upset about it. So she then at a press conference sang it live really, really well to like push back on the people who got mad at her for being theatrical about it during her performance.
I mean, it's one thing to be like, oh, blah blah blah, you were lip syncing or whatever like that, but it's like, if it's someone like Beyonce, it's not like there's any question about whether or not she can sing.
Yeah.
Well, at that point, it just becomes part of the
We
performance,
got a
right?
$20 one from Jacob. He said 2 things. Brett, you've never mentioned Shields. It's a Pinnacle Midwest. Phil, on Twitter, you asked about FPS at one point. Ready or Not is MMO, but it's the tits.
Oh, a first-person shooter. Ready
yeah.
or Not is what is it? What is MMO?
Massively multiplayer online role-playing.
Oh, okay.
But
Okay.
yeah. As for Shields, we did not have Shields in Minnesota. We had
What is
Dick's.
Shields?
We had Dick's Sporting Goods, which was also known as Galleons before that. Why they would change their name to Dick's, I have not a clue in the entire world. But we also, like, smaller versions of Shields, like we had Cunningham Sports, but that was for mostly hockey equipment. Played Against Sports. I think they have Played Against Sports out here too. But yeah, we did not actually have Shields in the state of Minnesota, but they did have them in the other states in the Midwest. So, yes. All right, guys. Before we go, would you hit the like button on this video? Would you subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already? Thank you very much for doing that. We're working our way upwards. We just passed 63,600 subscribers. So thank you for that. Phil, where can they find you?
You can find me on the internet. I am Phil That Remains on Twitter. I'm Phil That Remains Official on Instagram. The band is All That Remains. You can check us out on Spotify, Apple Music, Pandora, and YouTube, all that stuff.
Perfect. Mary, where can they find you?
You can send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived, or you can send me hate on Twitter. That is also Mary Archived. And make sure that you submit any of your memes for meme review on episode 400 to our subreddit for Pop Culture Crisis.
Next Thursday.
Yeah, next Thursday.
Perfect.
I'm excited.
All right, guys, if you'd like to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Brett Dastovic on both of those platforms. This show is here Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is noon Pacific. If you would like to listen to this podcast rather than watch, we are on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. And if you'd like to follow the show on social media, we are on Twitter at PopCulture_show, Facebook and TikTok at Pop Culture Crisis, and on Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. We'll be back with another episode tomorrow. We'll see y'all then.
Bye.
Later.
Bye now.